Good morning, art buddies. I'm a little early. That's better than being a little late, I guess. Good morning and welcome to Bricolage with Pink Girly. And today I'm going to do some grid doodling. I was inspired by something I saw on Instagram. And so I've done a little bit of prep work here. I usually come on at 10, but I put my notice up for 10:15 because I was, getting a little nervous that I wasn't going to be ready, so I packed my start time with a few extra minutes, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Good morning, Gail. Good morning, Leah. So I've realized a few things before. Hey, there's Natasha, right? Did I get it right? Natasha. Good morning. Good morning. Um, I saw this thing on Instagram and I really liked it, and I thought, oh, I want to do that. But she and the little video, the reels are just little snippets really, and there were really no instructions. Well, that's not true. Up on the screen, the person that did the video put a couple of tips. And one of the things that she showed on the video that she did was a um, liquid watercolor, which I had never heard of before. And it was made by Dr. Martins or Dr. somebody. And of course, it was beautiful. Good morning, Kathy. Beautiful, clear paint. And I thought, well, I could just use my watercolor paint. But then when I was thinking about it this morning, the application would not be smooth because it's watercolor, right? And it would not be, yeah, I think that's it, Leah. Dr. P.H. Martins. It was like in a little tiny bottle with an eyedropper, I think. So then I got the brilliant idea to take some of my watercolor, um, the squares that come in the little pans. They call them pans, the little block of watercolor. I miss Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie. There's so many Stephanies. Good morning, Stephanie. Um, but then I noticed that, this is kind of cloudy. So then when I was messing around with this, I didn't really like it. And then I thought, well, what else could I use? Oh, they do? Well, it goes on really nice and it went on even. I was thinking if I used like a regular watercolor in my brush, the color would be uneven when I put it on. So then I have some acrylic ink and I thought, well, maybe that would work. Well, the colors that I wanted, I didn't really have. And I get something in my head and I want it to be exactly what I want it to be. And I have a hard time straying from that thought process or from what I saw. So I've got to make a few adjustments. So what I ended up deciding to use is my ink sprays. So I pulled out a couple of those. So I'm just going to get crack-a-lack in here. I'll greet everybody as I see them coming in. I need to head back over to Pennsylvania today. Today is moving day. Whoa! So I've got to go over after the house is emptied out. And for those of you that are not aware, we're moving everything out of my mom's house because my niece is purchasing it and settlement is tomorrow. So I've got a cleaning crew coming at 2. Hey, Angie Brown. Hello, hello. And so I've got to get crack-a-lackin'. So I don't think this is going to take too long. Let me just see. Where the heck did I put my phone? See if I can show you. The woman's name, it was another artist that did a reel of this woman on Instagram. Her name is Leah Forrester. The artist's name is Leah Forrester. And let's see. I messaged it to myself. See if I can find it. Yeah, this might be too. Someday I'm going to learn how to use my phone. That's not the one. Anyway, let me just see if I can pull it up here again. And of course, it goes by really fast, but I wanted to give you an idea of what I'm shooting for, what I'm working towards. And I just called it grid. Hey, Zena, good morning. I just called it grid journaling, doodling because I guess that's basically what it is, but it's got a little bit of a twist from what I am used to have done before. See, she takes her painter's tape, she grids off her paper, and it looks like she's using a watercolor paper. So then she does her doodling and her scribbling on all the squares, and then she comes back in um, at the end and she goes over her little squares, not completely, but in sections with the liquid watercolor. So, of course, I'm just using what I have. Of course, now I'm going to put liquid watercolor on my want list, my little want list. And then, see, there's the liquid watercolor. Yeah, P.H. Martin's. And then she's got another one there, maybe papyrus or something. See, and then she reveals, and she's got all the little squares. So I just thought it looked cool. And now that I'm looking at this for the third or fourth time, it looks like she used green and orange. I was thinking she used green and yellow. So it looks like she uses two or three different types of markers, which I'm assuming are permanent. But I thought, wouldn't it be nice also maybe to add something else to it to kind of make it my own, a little different? So I have some stamps here. I've got my stays on stamps, and I might add a few little stamps here and there. So the other thing is too, if you don't like doodling or you don't think you doodle well and you're not comfortable with totally doodling like me, stamps might be the way to go. Hi, Shaz. Yeah, it wasn't so much feeling poorly. I mean, I'm tired, but we've just got a lot of stuff going on with the family the last couple of months, and so I just couldn't make everything work on Sunday, and things were kind of up in the air, but it all worked out. So what I have here is now I said on my community tab, some of you saw it, some did not. If you wanted to follow along or do this at some point, probably watercolor paper might be the way to go, or some kind of mixed media paper. I'm just going to work in my this was a dilution. Oh, it's a Ranger product. Um, like art book that I have. And I guess you could use any kind of paper that you feel comfortable with, right? So I didn't want a loose paper. I wanted it in a journal somewhere. So this is what I've decided to use. And this paper is real, my sisters and I would say soft and silky. It's real smooth. So I've taken my painter's tape, and this is not the real wide stuff. I have the wide stuff, this stuff, and then the real narrow. It came in a kit, a while ago. Let me just say as a reminder, if you need for me to see something, put it in caps for me, please. It's easier for me to pick up when I'm trying to art and read. Um, Now you have to be careful sometimes with the painter's tape. Now I was watching Aunt Beck the other day, and she was inspired by Arlena, and she had gridded off and used some painter's tape. And then when she went to pull it back up, she started to get some of the paper. And you can add a little heat to that. So now I've been moving this around. So this has been coming up fairly well for me. But you just take your substrate, whatever you decide you're going to use. And I'm sure you can use other stuff too. And now I'm looking in my camera to see if I've got that where I want it. I'm just going to pop this down. Now, the few little instructions that the gal on Instagram, Lena Forrester is her name, said that when you do your initial markings, if you will, you're going to use your heavier permanent marker, and you're just going to go all around. So, you know, this one here, I can see this is it. They don't have to be perfect. They can be really, you could do them wonky. You could put your tape on any way that you like. I just tend to be a little, okay, that's not true. I'm a lot anal. So I hope everybody can see my workspace pretty well. So I've decided to use, this says that it's permanent, and this is a Slick Writer quick dry ink for slick surfaces. And this is a slick surface. So I'm just going to start moving my marker around, making swirls and marks like this. And the gal that inspired me says, just put your pen down, make your marks, and do not lift your pen up off of your surface. So that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. And we're off to the races now. I'm going to start on the blue. See, I already lifted up my marker. What a tool bag. Now, she didn't seem to put this much marking on hers, but it's okay. So there's my initial markings with my Slick Writer. So then what she did was she went through and she got a thinner marker. Now I've got a couple different ones here. I've got a couple of Pitt pens. This says small, medium, and then I have my Sharpie marker. Now I think I'm going to use several different markers because I want different thicknesses in my squares. And what she did was she just went through and started to make all different kinds of lines and marks, whatever you want to do. So this is my medium. Now this is the hard part for me. And then partway through, she spun her piece of paper and she worked upside down. So I want to make sure I do that as well. So let's see. This isn't even writing very well. Now, she recommended doing different marks, you know, just that you see in your everyday life. So really, we could talk dots and squares and circles and spirals and really anything. For me, doodling is kind of a learned skill. I'm not what I would consider to be a super duper doodler. Now I've got a lot of big space here, so maybe I'll do just a little flower like that there. And I could certainly put a flower over here. And I think in the end, it all's going to look fine. I think I doodle and make, you know, think about it too much. Now, this Leah Forrester, one of the things that I noticed that she did is that she took her thinner marker and say somewhere where she had like a circle, like up here, she just went around it a couple of times. And I kind of like that look. Like that. Maybe Yeah, I guess kind of, but more not so much of concentrated maybe Zen doodling. And there again, oh, see, look, I hit my painter's tape and I've got it all wackadoodle there. Maybe this one I'm just gonna color this in, kind of scratchy like. We'll do a scratchy one here. She even did squares like a building. Yeah, hers was open and free flowing. I don't know if you could tell from that video in my mind, not so much a concentrated, intense, a lot of doodling packed in a small area. It was more open and freestyle. Um, like she did some squares that look like buildings, which I kind of liked, and kind of reminded me a little bit of something that maybe um, Tamara Laporte would do. Ange is headed out. Okay, Ange, have a good day. Gosh, I think I forgot to bring my drink. Sitting out by my refrigerator. All right, let's see. This one, let's just make. And as I was looking at what this Lena Forrester was doing, her thing she was drawing on the grid markings, like her initial heavy marking, it wasn't rocket science, it was just simple things. One thing I did notice that she did, like if she did things like this, okay, Zena, have a great day. Don't work too terribly hard. See, like those peaks that I put on there? She went around them a second time and made an additional mark like that. Now, she didn't do any hearts or anything like that. I think I would want a couple of little hearts, maybe. Mhm. And she recommended that you skip around. You don't work, everything in one area at one time. And I want to make sure I overlap some stuff. See, I have a hard time thinking of things to actually draw. And like I said, her things were just really simple lines. And I guess you could twirl your paper anyway, but she said, at some point, turn your paper upside down. Hey, Kitty Jen, good morning. Dots and dashes, yes, I have some dots. My dots aren't very good. I could really make those a little better. Now, if you are saying to yourself, you know what, this is not for me, I could never doodle. Well, You know, you probably could. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, it can be, whatever. But the thing of it is that you could use your stamps too, right? If you're like really freaked out about it. I'm going to put some leaves in here. Try not to, oh, everything's going cattywampus on my desk. Now let's find a good place. Let me get that heavier, and put some dashes on here. And Kathy suggests that's a good idea. Dashes. I bought these pig pens a long time ago, and I really haven't used them much. Now I have a flower there. I don't really want a flower there, I don't think. Let's do that. My hand got a little shaky there. Let's do a little tulip type flower. And then I could do a little dangly heart. See, it's hard for me to do this stuff straight on. I like my paper at an angle. And probably most of us have little doodles or something that we like to do that, we kind of go to and use all the time. Like for me, it's the little heart. Got it in my head how I like to do those little hearts, so I just go ahead and do them without really thinking. I do like the swirly things too. Like the back of a snail or something like that. Now, I don't want to fill it in too much because I do want to add some stamps. Now, I've got my blue stays on. Maybe I should dig out the black so it kind of matches. Arrows. Arrows are good. And then I was thinking I'd like some words or something in there too. Not crazy about this tulip. I'm going to turn that into a heart, I think. I'll bring things out on the side. Oh, I just had another idea. Maybe with a little swirly thing on top. Like that. Look, I don't have anything in this square up here. Hi, Peg. Have I met you before? I'm not sure if I have. If I have, I'm so sorry. I don't remember. But welcome, welcome. So nice to see you. Yeah, it is fun. And this is something like you could grid off a couple of pages. Say if you have a an art journal or something. I mean, this has got all kinds of crazy stuff in here. I just pick it up occasionally and do something in it. So it's got all kinds of different things. But it just depends. You may have, I also have my other and we've worked in this before, my other doodling journal, which is really basically a grid doodle book when I didn't really know that it was a thing. But this is where I drew on from with a template, drew on the different squares and shapes. So this is just another way to create a grid. So what you could do, of course, is this kind, pre-draw with a template and make your grid markings. But this is just a different way to make some grid markings and do something a little different. So you really could grid off a couple of pages and sit in front of the TV, or if you're listening to a book, and then go ahead and get your pens out and your markers and start going cray cray with the doodles, right? How about just some circles? I'll see for the circles, I think I might want to use a template. So this is the other thing you can do, right? It's not cheating, it's just art. There are no rules. Nothing says you can't use some kind of a tool. So maybe just some circles. Make some bubbles or half circle and overlap, right? So now we see where we're starting to fill in a little bit. Let's use this edge, make some lines, and then I can put little things on here. And she went in all different directions. I'm going to flip this back around. This is kind of a, hey, Candy, hello. Nice to see you. Now I'm going to color that in. Make a little scratch marks. Okay, Kath. Hey, have a good day at the gift shop. I think that sounds fun. All right. And of course, you can get as crazy and as involved, like Natasha was saying, with you could do the Zen type of doodling if that's your jam. So I'm gonna make like a little wall of leaves. Just real quick, I'm not spending a lot of time on them, to make them look perfect. Some of them are overlapping. Mhm. So my husband went over to my mom's house this morning to meet the movers and, of course, our son. And They got the keys to their apartment last night, so they were taking stuff over and finishing up stuff at the main house. He didn't go to sleep till 3:30 this morning, and then his girlfriend woke him up at 5. So he's a little tired. Oh, let's make some stars. This like a wonky star, and it didn't do that so good either. Okay, let's correct that. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna color that one in. I like the dark stars. Let's have a redo. See, this is why when folks like Murray, the Murray Altier and Dee Dee Willingham, they draw and sketch in pen. I don't know how they do it because I make mistakes. I got to figure out how to fix it. With something like this, it's easy to fix, but if you're sketching somebody and do that to their nose, hey, not so good. End up looking like Jimmy Durante. Okay, I've got a lid in my, here it is. See, I have a cap in my hand and I don't know what I did with the, all right, let's try again. It's better. It's better. And then I can do little dots all around it. Now, for anyone that doodles, what's your favorite doodle? Like, what do you like to doodle? Do you have hey, Riri, good morning. Do you have a favorite shape? I really kind of like that spirally thing. Now I'm going to go sideways here, and let's do a few things sideways. I've got some, gosh, I still am avoiding this. Let's do a couple little spirals right there. Let's put like a flower here. This is, I think, going to be a pretty quick project. I'd have to think about that one for a bit, Lori. Been a while since I doodled. Yeah, see, I remember as a kid, or really even as an adult in church, get the sermon and all that, and sitting and supposed to be paying attention, and I'm doodling on the bulletin. So, oh, here's a big space. All right, so I think I'm going to. Sha says she tends to do swirls and letters and names. Yes, yes. So this is what I have right now. Okay. So this is basically where Lena Forrester, the gal on uh, Instagram that I saw, this is basically where she took hers. And at this point, she used her liquid watercolor to put into the squares. And then she pulled up her tape. And, well, that's not true. She also goes around the block, which I'm going to do that as well. But I thought to just make it my own and make it a little different so I'm not copycatting so much, I'm going to add some stamps. Now, I don't really need these stamps, I don't think, today, because I did a lot of these marks. But this is a stamp set I have, and I think this is probably a Tim Holzer Arranger stamp. set. But see, you might have something in your stash like this. See, and so it's got all these little marks and doodads. See the swirl? Lines. So you may have something like that already in your stamp somewhere, or really a stencil, but you got to use something that's not going to move, something that's permanent, because you're going to put liquid on there. And Gail says the squiggly line or circles are probably her favorite. Yeah, they're good ones, right? They're good ones. Okay, I think I packed away my stamping block. Let me see if I have another one I can grab. And then I was going to, yeah, get my StazOn black. So this is just the alphabet, so I think I might just do portions of this here and there, hit or miss. That didn't do so good. I didn't want that close. I thought this would look a little smaller than it actually does, so that's better. But see, like the great thing with this is you can't really mess it up. I want a little piece of, let's see, scrap paper here, because I don't want this on that little bit. And then I have this little mini StazOn stamp that says always. I kind of like that. Put a few of these on. And then I pulled out my little frog. I don't know where my bumblebee is. I didn't look. I'm going to add a little frog here and there. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, I have stuff like this from different kits of stamp sets from years ago. You know, little beehive. Let's see if I can cover up this debacle. So you probably have in your stash lots of choices, especially if you feel like you're, doodle challenged. There's always thinking outside the box. I like this little circle thingy. Let's put that here. It doesn't have to be, some of the stuff can be off. It doesn't have to be the whole image, which kind of creates some additional interest, I think. So that looks pretty good. I mean, as far as it being filled up. And now she took a square flat brush and then started painting in different sections of those squares. This looks a little light. This one, I think I'm going to doodle a little more in there. Put all this other stuff aside here for a minute. Let me put this back in my drawer. Put everything back where I at it so I can find it next time. There's Raul. How are you, Raul? Nice to see you. Let's see. All right. I was thinking I wanted to put a little something else. Maybe just little circles. Little teeny tiny circles up here. Like that. I'm really liking those little lines with just a little dot on the top. Of course, it can be lines and an oval. It doesn't have to be a dot. I kind of made a mess over here. That stamp didn't quite stamp correctly. All right, so some of my leaves I have filled in and colored them. Other ones I didn't. I left open. So now this is the part that I could say is fiddly, but it's kind of a little nerve-wracking to me because I'm going to paint over top of these. Now, when she did it, let me see if I can get the video up again. It's not holding my, when I open this up, let me see if I can get to the end. I think I can fast forward it. Oh, I'm going to take the music off. See, when she's painting, oh, I went a little too far. When she's painting the colors in, see, she's not filling up the whole square, and she's kind of hit or miss with her colors. And she's only using 2 colors. The other thing that she does, which I didn't do yet, and I want to do, is she goes around each block and outlines the square. So I want to do that. Whoop, went right off onto the tape. That's hard to see, especially when you're wearing your distance glasses, not your up-close glasses. Now, some of you, maybe some of the replayers, you're going to watch this and you're going to say, well, why didn't you just draw the squares to begin with? Well, you could. There's a lot of different ways to do the grid doodling, but this is just something different. If you're inclined, you could just do, your own squares freehanded. And they could be wonky. I always think of Janet Nash with wonky hearts and wonky houses. You could do a wonky grid. Now, this is just for the fun of it, but you really could use this in a project or a journal. Take a section of your journal, like a section of a page, and do a couple little squares with some doodles in it, add some color. You could do this on a piece of, say, well, that's true, Gail. But you could really put some color on. You could use a marker, where it wouldn't bleed outside of your squares. That's what I do in my other doodle book. Or you could use like your Neo 2s. Hey, Christine G. Good morning. I think I did that one okay. You could do this on cardstock and then use it for the background of a greeting card. So it doesn't have to just be, some folks are like, yeah, but what is its purpose? Why are you doing it? Well, if you're one of those people, figure it out. Think outside the box and figure out a way that you could use it for a purpose. For me, it's just that I wanted to experience doing it, see how it turned out. And so I'm doing it on a page in one of my art journals. Just for the fun of it. And I wanted to do something today that wasn't going to take me too terribly long. I didn't want to not come on today after missing Sunday. But like I said, I have to head over to Pennsylvania. And so this way, I get to visit, do a little bit of art and relax. And then do my adult things as well. Now, as I'm doing these squares, I'm getting messier and messier. And I got to tell you, I kind of like it better. It's not all perfect. I was thinking some stenciling would look cool too. Lori Gail says, how long of a drive is it for you? It depends on where I'm going, of course. My daughter's, it's an hour and 15 minutes, but to my mom's, sometimes it's as short as 35 minutes, and other times, depending on traffic, it might take me 45. So not bad. If I'm just going from my house over the bridge into Jersey, well, not North Jersey. I guess I'm going east, maybe. That drive is really only about a half an hour to get over the state line. We're about maybe, if I head north, I think we're about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Now, there again, it depends on traffic. New York City is probably 2.5 hours. So not bad at all. All right. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous. Wah, wah, wah. All right. So I am just going to use my sprays with a brush because it's what I have. And let me just show you. Let's just do this so I can show you the difference. All right. I'm going to close my book here for a moment. Let's just do a sample. So here I have my heavier marker. And then I went and I did some, doodles. Just some little crazy doodly stuff. Just so we have a sample of what I'm doing here. Right? So that's basically what I have inside my grid. And so the gal on the video on the reel used PH Martin's liquid watercolor, which I didn't have. So then I got the bright idea to, liquefy some watercolor. But see, it's all cloudy. And when I did a quick test this morning, it's okay, but I just wasn't crazy about it. So let me show you that. So once I tested that and I wasn't too thrilled with it, you see, it's just so. It's just really what I would say fagged out color. It's just not. I wanted something more brilliant and more intense. And so then I tried my acrylic inks that I had, and they were okay and they were bright. But I'm out of the colors I wanted to use, like a yellow and a bright green. The colors I have are like a purple and a fuchsia. And what happened with those were they weren't as transparent as I needed to be. Right, exactly, Gail. You need very transparent. And so then I thought about my sprays. So this gives me the transparency, but it also gives me a brighter color, which I'm not sure how well that's coming up for you on the screen. But then I can see my doodles underneath. And it is going to be a little splotchy, but it's the best I can do for not having exactly what I need. Let's see if I can find. That's not what I want. See if I can find a piece of paper towel. Oh, there it is. Oh, please. So I'm going to try it with the sprays. Gail says, Lori, sorry, but what was this woman's name? Oh, her name is Lena Forrester. She was the artist. That's not who posted the reel. It was an artist that the person that posted the reel chose. I forget how they worded it. Where's my phone? It just keeps, oh, there it is. Lena Forrester, double R, 1S. But it was posted by, I can't see who that was posted by. The original. Well, if you want, I can send it to you. If you're interested in seeing, yes, double R, Forrester. Yeah. Lori, you could scribble Tim Holtz crayons on a palette, spray a bit of water for your color. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you could do, and I get that, and you can be creative and do that. But what my concern was for this morning and showing you all that we're going to be here with me and maybe watch the replay is that the consistency of the product that I was going. You've got her, Gail? Okay, great. The consistency of the product I wanted to use. I wanted my color to be consistent throughout my page. So I thought it's the same old thing, if you're gonna mix 2 colors together of acrylic for a project, you have to know and mix more. Thank you, Gail. You have to know and mix more than what you are gonna need because you don't wanna run out. So that was my dilemma, this morning, and it's just about go time, and there you have it. So now what I wanna be careful of doing is not filling up my whole block with, color. I wanna leave some white spaces. So this way I know I have, enough of this green spray to create, um, to go through my whole project, my whole paper here. And I'm gonna have a consistency of color and how it goes on, and I'm gonna have enough. Does that make sense? And then she puts some of each color, of course, in every block. It's funny how some of it is, like, repelling a little bit. Ooh, see there, I've got too much on my brush. Put some in the middle here. And I was thinking a bigger brush too, but it depends on your block and how big of a mark you want to make. I could have used a little bit of a bigger um, paintbrush, but I just wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. Any questions that I can't answer? Mm. And you probably would do a lot better doing this on your own. It's a little unnerving at times to sit here and think about there are people watching you what you're doing, watching every move you make. I'm gonna paint in this whole area. Now, something that would have worked better if you don't have the liquid watercolor, I did a little Google search this morning, and there were 3 suggestions of the article that I looked at, and it was, taking your watercolor block, putting them in water, and letting them soak and have that watercolor block, dissipate. Another was, what was number 2? I'm not remembering number 2. Number 3 was take your old markers that are kinda drying out, your water-based markers, like your Crayolas, your, what do they call them? Super Tips, and put like colors, like all your blues that are drying out, in a plastic cup with some water in it and leave them sit for a couple of days. See, then you have a bulk amount of color, so you're not gonna run out for any given project. And that water, draws out the color. There was a third thing that the person did, and I forget. I'm sure you can find tons of other stuff. but that's just what I found this morning quickly. All right, now I want to make sure that I have something in every block. Then I'm going to do something additional after I get all this done. I had another idea. And you can paint on this color, any way you want, or as much as you want. Look, there's my frog. I want to make him green. Let's make this other frog green. Just make sure you're using permanent ink. Lori, some people make alcohol inks that way. Swap out water for just rubbing alcohol. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's cool. There's another froggy. All right, there's a froggy. How about my leaves here? Let's give them some green. When she painted on her green and her orange, she was very precise. It looked like to me. All right, now I think I got green in every square. Now, if you do this, what I did was when I took my cap out, I put it in water. Water. Ooh, clear water. Because I didn't want my little nozzly thing there to dry and clog. Now I'm going to use, so this color was cut grass, and this one is pure sunshine. So I'm just floating that in some water. Now let's just see, let's put this on my tester. Hey Chris, hi. I've got to go down to the bottom. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to like that. I think I'm going to like it. Now she overlapped. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of scraping off some of the color so that I don't have big blobs. And for me, I wanted my color as I painted on to look even, not blotchy. It's just me. You can do what you like. Take a little, scrap piece of paper and test out what you're wanting to do. So now I did a couple of things different than Lena Forrester in that I use stamps and not all just doodling. And I didn't have the liquid watercolor, so I'm using Dilutions ink spray. And I would recommend that you use two colors of whatever, if you're using the liquid watercolor or just regular watercolor, or you You have the ink sprays like I have, and that's what you choose to use if you do this. You want to pick two colors that are compatible so that when they overlap, because they're going to, even no matter how careful you are, I think you're going to have some overlap. You want to just make sure that they're two colors that work together so you don't get mud. At least that's my thought. Unless you like mud. Hey, maybe you like mud. And go ahead and do the mud thing. And I'm trying to have clean edges of where I'm painting this. You don't have to do that either. I'm just thinking I would like it more better. More better. Oh, house chores. I don't like house chores. This is working a little better than I thought it was going to, actually, to be honest. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding, as they say, when we take off the tape. Hmm. I think it was a really good tip. Now you could, of course, think about it and draw things upside down, but I thought it was a really good tip of hers to flip your paper. You don't have to really think about it. You just flip it in a different direction and then go cray cray, right? And coloring. Oh, I do love to color. What coloring book are you? Are you working in a coloring book, Natasha? What are you working on? May I ask? Do you mind sharing? I'm trying to finish my small, well, I say finish, but trying to get some color on every page of my my small Joanna Basford's book. I'm making some headway. Making some headway. Okay, did I get orange and green in every square? Sometimes you look at things and you think you did, and then you come to find out, no, I missed one. Okay, green. Okay, so that is basically what Lena Forrester did. And then she pulled her tape for the big reveal. But I want to spatter. I love spatter, so I want to spatter. So I don't want to spatter on this page. So I'm going to cover that up. And then I'm just going to work on my glass surface here and see if I can grab a black, see if I can easily find some black acrylic paint. Da, 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 da. This is just an old, I don't care for apple barrel. I have to just be honest. but somewhere I acquired some, and I'm just going to put a little bit down on my glass mat. I hope if I can get it out of the jar. Whoa, this is about fini. Fini boom boom. I'm going to add some water to it. Make it more like an inky type consistency. And I'm going to take some off to the side and do a sample spattering so I can check. Needs a little more water so I can check. Now, of course, it takes a while for these dots to dry, these spatterings. That's pretty good. There we go. All right. Now, there may be some other things you like to do to your projects. Go ahead and do it. Add some glitter, add some shimmer spray, you know. We all have things that we like. Now, I won't close my page, but I think I should be able to pull my tape up without too much trouble. Now, there again, Aunt Beck was using painter's tape the other day, and she had trouble. It started to lift up her paper. So Ann told her, Ann Lahr told her quicker than I did. I'm a little slow on the draw. But if you add heat, like from your heat gun to your tape, if it starts to do that, that's what you do, and it should help you not pull up your paper. Of course, anything can happen, my dear friends. All right, now I, knowing myself, am going to mop up this blob of black paint because I usually put my fist in it. Now, I was rearranging my tape and trying to get my squares, my grid the way I wanted it before I came on. So I'm hoping that it hasn't been down long enough to really start pulling up my paper. And like I said, the paper in this journal is very slick. I think the reason the tape stuck for Becky was because it was a pastel paper. That could be, but I've had this tape stick to watercolor paper. I was doing watercolor stuff, and I didn't think it would stick, and I go ripping and tearing, and it stuck for me. So just be aware that it could happen, you know. So I'm going to go gently, and here's the big reveal. And hopefully I don't feel any resistance. I can see already I should have used a heavier marker to do my lines that outlined my squares. I didn't realize there was a pastel paper either, Gail. That's interesting to me. So really, if you're doing this and you're using the painter's tape, or, I'm guessing, Gail, what do you think? Do you think washi tape would work? Would hold it enough where, I mean, you're not doing too much where, you think that would that block any watercolor from running underneath? Or you don't think the washi would be a good idea? Lots of people do use it. Okay, cool. So I'm just going really gently pulling this off, not pulling it off like a Band-Aid. Sometimes it will leak. But see, when I painted this on with my brush, I really was kind of like the brush was wet with the ink, but it wasn't dripping. But I'm just thinking not everybody may have painter's tape available, and some of us have a lot of washi tape, so it might be something you could try. Now, I didn't measure when I put my tape down. Shocker, right? Yeah, not too much of a measurer. So my grid, my squares are not going to be, all the same. I didn't really care about that. Really didn't care about that. So I do like that I spattered. If I'm being honest. Thanks, Riri. I thought it was cool. And I really am happy with the results, quite honestly, except that I wish my outline was a little darker. So I may go back and deepen those lines. We'll see. I may also try it and put the grid on and really put my grid on crooked, you know, to make it wonky. And do a wonky page. Riri said cards, masterboards, canvases, the possibilities are endless. Yes, they are, girlfriend. Lori, this is cool. Very similar to what Lena Forrester did. Good job. Thank you. Now just my border tape has been down longer than my grid, so I just want to grab it. Maybe I'll use a pair of scissors. Ooh. Now, if you wanted to really go a step further, you could, and anyone can do it. Absolutely, Riri. You could come back and stamp in between, or do some more doodling, or just leave it as is. You could do this on a great big, like Riri said, like a master board, and then cut them up and use them as ATC bases, like the bottom or the base of an ATC, right? How cool would that be? Here we go. I definitely like when you're stamping or doodling and not putting a whole image in the square. I really do like that. See, I'm not paying attention. There it goes. It's lifting up my paper. Man, right at the very end. Isn't that a bummer? I'll put a little glue on there. But there you have it, gang. Let's see. You really could do the same idea separately, like if you cut out squares of, say, like a 110 cardstock, you know, and make little tiles and then put some glossy accent on them. How cool would they be to add to some of your projects? Can you see it pretty well? I'm just trying to get up closer to the camera so you can get ideas from each little square. So that's it. Oh, I forgot I did oh, they're dry. Pretty good. See, I forgot I did oh, boiler. So there you have it. That's my project for today. Thanks, girls. Okay, Gail, have a great day. Don't worry, I'll try not to. I'm gonna let the younger people do all the work. That's my plan. All right, that's it for me today. I'm hoping to be back with you on Sunday as usual, in my usual time slot at 11 a.m. Eastern. Um, Everything will be hopefully finished and life will start to calm back down a little bit. Oh my gosh, I didn't put my stopper back in that. You know, it is disappointing when you do all this and then you just, I can't believe that's stuck right there at the end. Now I've got, I didn't put my pin in there to keep my glue tip from, getting clogged. There we go. I just want to put a little bit of glue there. You'll never know it. Bye, Christine. All right, so I'm going to head on out, get on with the rest of my busy day. I hope you're all able to relax and not be as busy and to do some art. And Shaz, I'm still pointing. You're on my list. I have you on my list to get in touch with. I've gotten some of the things done that I've had to get done, but it's just been it's just really, to be quite honest with you, crazy, 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 crazy. So there you have it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. There are certainly things to do here on YouTube, so check out all your possibilities. And I will see you next time. And don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. Bye-bye.